Hey everybody, I want to give you my Christmas greeting. Thanks for listening if you are. I want to talk about a little Christmas story and how it relates to this time of year. This time of year from about Thanksgiving or before a little bit until about mid-January is the darkest time of the year here in the United States, and it's hard on a lot of people. Lack of sunlight, the short days. Our days up here in the northern latitude here in Montana are pretty short, and I know it's a lot shorter in Alaska because I've been there in the winter. But anyway, a week or so ago we had a terrific windstorm here. And we get Chinook winds here, and I have a wood stove, and usually when the Chinook winds blow, they might be gusts of maybe 60 miles an hour on the really windy Chinooks. They always blow straight out of the southwest. You could set stakes to the wind. Anyway, this particular wind was out of the southwest, but it was more than a Chinook. And it was pretty warm. There had been some snow. Quickly all melted off, and it just blew and it broke trees, and our power went out. Well, in addition to the wind blowing super strong and keeping me up for 3 nights, and the power being off, and I couldn't run my wood stove. I didn't want to run my wood stove because I was in fear of... Now, this may have been an unneeded fear, but I just am overly cautious. I didn't want anything to happen with downdrafts into the stove or having the chimney pipe blow off. But as it turned out, nothing was harmed. I escaped unscathed throughout the whole storm, while other people were less fortunate. But during that period of time, it was really tough on my psyche. And there's a little bit of guilt when it's just the power, and it's just that I didn't sleep, and it's just that I was cold, and and I couldn't run my stove. And normally, I can get by with no power. I run my wood stove. I have propane and Coleman stoves, and I have a propane stove in my kitchen anyway, and I'm fine. I'm plenty warm, even if it is cold, if it's calm. Or when the Chinooks blow, I don't have to worry about running my wood stove, and usually we have power. But combine the two, and what I mean by the guilt is knowing at the same time, after talking to a neighbor who is out in Seattle area, at that time there was 100,000 people displaced and their homes flooded and gone and homeless. So, I don't have anything to complain about, but still, even, you can't compare your problems. You really can't to anybody else. You can't really minimize them to your own self. Other people could minimize them. There were a lot of people that had worse off than me, but I certainly couldn't minimize them at the time. When it finally did break and we'd got power, and this is getting into the Christmas story. So when the weather finally did break and we got the power back and the skies turned blue and the wind went down, I went for a walk like I always do. And what struck me, and this is the Christmas story, is hopefully a message of hope. And that is that, I just hung on, and it was hard for me during that windy. It was like having a Chinese water torture with those gusts blowing at just terrific, like 80 mile an hour plus, harder than we've ever seen it. In fear of my house being blown apart, not sleeping, and cold. you know, uncomfortable, not frozen cold, but uncomfortably cold. And so the combination of all of that, when it finally did break, it was just better. That day that it broke, I felt like I was manic depressive. I thought to myself, you know, if you just hold on, no matter how bad it is, when it finally gets better, and things do, the pendulum swings, things change, it goes, nothing lasts forever. This good time, this good pattern, you know, it's not going to last forever, but when it's good, man, it can be really good. So, like, better than if you know, hadn't have gone through that hard thing. So, anyway, I don't know. That's a message of hope, I hope. Merry Christmas, everybody, and thanks for watching.